Well, hello there, YouTube. I recently quit smoking. I switched over to vaping or e-cigarettes, and I'm going to be making my own e-juice, which is a little bit cheaper. So one of the things that I saw that I wanted to try, and I realized that there's varying opinions on this, but I wanted to try to make a magnetic stir plate. It's kind of a cool thing where you have a spinning magnet and you put your vessel on top of that, and then there's a magnetic stir bar that spins around in there and mixes stuff up for you. I thought, boy, that's such a cool thing, I've got to have one. So if you're interested in making a magnetic stir plate, there's plenty of videos out there that can help you out with that. What I found was one of the problems that none of these videos seemed to really address was the stir bar flying off and going willy-nilly, because you might have had like too much power, or maybe it wasn't enough magnetism to hold it down. So I'm going to try to address that a little bit in this video, how I overcame that. If you're going to want to play around with one of these magnetic stir units, you're going to need a computer fan. I think maybe a little bit larger one might be better. You could take apart, like if you have an old computer power supply, sometimes there's like 80mm fan or whatever. This is, I think this is 110mm, and I got this from a computer store in the area, like a used computer store. Guy gave me a real good deal on it. Now, running it off of 12 volts was way more power than I needed. In testing out stuff just running water, and I did order a magnetic stir bar, so it was like you really don't need that much power, so you can reduce the amount of power going to the fan. So basically, like I said, you need a computer fan, power supply. You can use batteries to do this. You can use an adapter that plugs into the wall. You could use a model train, like if you have an old Tyco railroad set. That was what I first started out with, was that, and then you putting a little resistance after that. Works good. This I ended up redesigning it, putting it all in one box. There's a little knob, the speed control in the front, and that speed control is actually what would go on the wall for if you had a ceiling fan and you were going to adjust the speed in your ceiling fan. Those usually, like there's light dimmers. Light dimmer might not be rated for as much amperage. So this is pretty hackish, but it works. We'll see how long it takes before it bursts into flames. This is my stir bar. I ordered this from a USA vendor. It was like $5 shipped. This is 1.5 inches long, which I thought was a pretty happy medium for how wide my magnets were going to sit. And I went ahead and I took apart some old broken hard drives to get my magnet. The magnets that go on top of the fan. So basically how this works is, you have this is spinning around with the magnets on it, then you have a vessel with the liquid that you want to stir, and then your stir buddy goes in here and stirs it around. How you obtain these magnets here, I had to buy this, and you could make one of these. It's just 2 opposing pole magnets and some molded plastic. I mean, you could pull a Tony Iommi and melt down a dishwashing liquid bottle to get your plastic, or go ahead and spend the $5 and have it shipped to you. Now, if you take apart an old hard drive, you're going to find some rare earth or neodymium magnets. In order to take apart a hard drive, you do need some like Torx bits, or like little real small Allen keys. But yeah, you can tear apart a hard drive, and what I found was in some of them they have little roundies. Those are great, the little round rare earth magnets. Some of them had little banana shaped that were thin. Some had some thicker. I ended up combining a thick one on the bottom, 2 thin ones stacked, flipped around, so you got one curve in this way, one curve in that way, and then 2 roundies on top of it with all of those magnets stacked up. It got a little high, so I offset that with some like thicker poster board that's sitting up here now. Later on, I've got some high power magnets on order. They actually sell them if you don't like weight. You can go to Michael's and spend about $5. I saw some guys like to stack the round rare earth magnets together and make like a tube, and then you can glue that, epoxy that down or whatever, and make this big honking tube of magnets, and that's real powerful. So that's an option there, doing it that way. You need 2 strong magnets, opposite poles on top of the fan spinning. So that's what I'm going to be using. It's hackish, like there's this fan control, and then there's a 6-volt power adapter, because I really don't need that much power as this fan puts out. This is it's an IBM server fan. It's like a really good fan. They're kind of pricey as fans go, and really didn't need that good of a unit, but that's what the guy gave me at the store. So I have to just kind of reduce the power. So what I thought would be fun, this device is used for making e-juice, e-liquid, which we know that has to steep and steeping, and like I'm familiar with that word from tea. Like let's steep tea. It's time for crumpets. But another thing that dawned on me was Kool-Aid. Now I'm a big Kool-Aid guy. I'm a cheap guy, but even if I was like a multi-billionaire, I would still drink a lot of Kool-Aid. I love this stuff, and that's what I've always found is like, you're like, man, there's nothing to drink, but there's always some like really, like 15-year-old packet of tropical punch stuck to the back of the cabinet, and you can always borrow a cup of sugar from your neighbor. But what I found is when you make that Kool-Aid, it tastes terrible. Usually you need to let it sit overnight, and even overnight it's a lot better after steeping. See how that works? Overnight. But ultimately, for me, the Kool-Aid that I enjoy the most, and I don't know if this is psychological, but that the last little bit where like nobody's drank it because there's only a little bit and it's sat in the fridge for a couple weeks, that last oh man, that's good. And I mean, I don't necessarily, I use the directions on a Kool-Aid packet as a cup of sugar. That's way too sweet for me. I go with like about 2/3 of a cup. And I find even then I have to fill the glass up with ice. We watched a video about DIY Gatorade, and I was a little dehydrated, and the guy made Kool-Aid and he didn't put any sugar in, and he drank it on the YouTube, and he's like, no, this is too sweet. This tastes terrible. And he caught it and he came back and he's like, I figured out what I did wrong. I didn't put any sugar in. It's like, I mean, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm kind of a goof. I'm not really, But I mean, this guy was too sweet, and like, who thinks that you? So what we're gonna do? I mean, you have Kool-Aid. It's like there's more sugar in it than there is water. So what we're gonna do today? Thank you for joining me, by the way. I thought I'd make Kool-Aid in the magnetic stir plate. Now I know this sounds like a goofy idea, but last week when I was first coming up with this, testing it with the bar. We made some Kool-Aid with the magnetic stir plate, and I found that it tastes excellent. Right? I mean, if you use this unit, it's just knock out of the park. Unbelievable, excellent, the best. That 2-week-old Kool-Aid that's been sitting there. So what I got here, I picked this up. This was 99 cents at Goodwill. I went and got some glassware stuff at Goodwill, which, I mean, if you want to get into DIY juice and you don't want to pay, you want to try to save some money, run over to Goodwill. They've got all kinds of like flower vases and stuff you could use instead of graduated cylinders. Instead of buying Pyrex, you spend about $10 there and you're going to end up with about 10 things, maybe even more. A lot of it was 50 cents. So here we go. We got 16 gallons of, this is cold water. It's 1 fluid ton, an ounce, a liquid pinter of tap water. And I'll go ahead and throw the magnetic stir bar in, and then we go ahead and fire this up. And it's gonna do its thing. It's gonna tornado. While we're waiting, I guess I got my Kool-Aid. So I've got, this is decision time. I got grape, I got orange, black cherry, pinky lemonade, and watermelon. I think I'm gonna go with the watermelon. You think will that show up on the, is that racist? Maybe I should just go with the black cherry. But you know what? If it's Kool-Aid, we gotta go with grape, right? Let's do the grape. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna go ahead and, you know what? I'm gonna do it backwards. Let's do the sugar. So, I mean, I guess, do I do this slowly? Do I dump this in slow? You want to get an overhead shot of this? Can you, like, gracefully? So, yeah, I'm going to kind of slowly That didn't sound good. Maybe I need to turn the... We're all the way up on the power, by the way. Yeah, this is making for a long video. Cisco Kid was a friend of mine. He drink Kool-Aid, I just drink my wine. But I called Mama, he is a friend of mine. I've been listening to some Pink Jimmy Photon, and I can't get that. I cannot get that out of my head. He's got some good stuff. Okay. Now I know everyone is going to be like, "Why don't you just stir the Kool-Aid, you idiot?" Because it's YouTube and no one has ever made a video. At least none of the people that ever make the horrible, hurtful, nasty comments have ever made videos. But I'll tell you why I don't. You gotta use a wooden spoon. This is how my mom taught me. It's like, first thing you do is you gotta use hot water. And, you know, like, why? Because, like, where she grew up, like 16 houses ago, the cold water had lead in it. Like, just all this weird stuff, and like using a wooden spoon, like a dunk for like a half hour doing that in a 2-quart, and it wouldn't. This is actually, it's like it's mixed. I mean, I'm still running it, but it does not, it looks like it's, wow, that is cool. I know I'm gonna sneeze. But yeah, this might, I mean, actually in real world application, this may take a little longer doing it this way. I mean, will it? To make the Kool-Aid this way? Considering that when it's done, I'm going to have delicious steeped Kool-Aid in a matter of minutes, as opposed to what would take a week to steep in the fridge. You know, it's worth it to me because I'm a connoisseur of Kool-Aid. And this didn't really cost me that much. I mean, the magnet, the stir bar was $5. The fan was $5 for the fan, but see, I got a Sound Blaster Audigy with the EAX, like a nice Sound Blaster too from him. So we'll say $2.50. This cost me under $10 for this. The box was free. The fan controller was $1, and I'm sure I got that adapter for free. So yeah, it's probably about $8 for this thing. But the amount it's going to save me on making my own e-juice is, you know, that's the highlight of the thing, and that's why I got it. So looks like we're done. I don't think it's gonna make any more difference if this is just what looks like water bubbles here. Now I got this today. I picked this up at Goodwill too. This is a frother. Oh, it was hitting the stir bar. I suppose this is cheating, right? Using this, you can get these at IKEA for like, I think they're $2.50, and they had one up at the Salvation today for, it was like $1. It was $2 actually. Now I had, oh, here it is. Here's my rest of my water. What I'm gonna do, I went ahead and I had this kind of planned out. This is like Mr. Rogers here. So hopefully this is correct. I'm going to go ahead and pour my like syrup concentrate in here. And when we did this with my daughter, of course, she kept saying, "What if you were just going to like drink that?" You know, like the concentrate. What would happen then? Well, I would probably start talking more than I already talk way too much. So now I've completely screwed the pooch, and somebody's going to get a surprise. And their glass, that person will be the next one to get married. No, usually what you're supposed to do is have the strainer and, you know, run that through the strainer. But I guess I will. I mean, what do I do? This is what you do with Kool-Aid. You drink directly out of the container, infecting everyone else in the house. That's perfect Kool-Aid. It's, I mean, normally when you make Kool-Aid fresh and you use a with the wooden spoon, and it takes, you know, 45 minutes, bang, 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 and purple shit everywhere. It tastes terrible. I mean, the stuff, it needs to like molecularly bond and steep is what it needs to do. That's the correct word. So I'm going to be using my magnetic stir plate for making Kool-Aid. I don't know about you guys. Screw all of you guys. And go ahead and feel free to leave some nasty comments down below. I don't care. I'm going to be so happy vaping my homemade e-liquid and sipping on this fully steeped Kool-Aid. I'm in honky heaven. So until next time, you guys take care of yourself. And do I have a slogan? Keep on hacking. Yeah, that's it. Keep on hacking. All right. See ya.